Hometown Murder Tour is a true crime podcast for entertainment purposes only, assuming you find us entertaining.
That being said, stories of violence, sexual assault, and other criminal acts will be discussed, using adult language. Consider this your warning. Hi! Welcome to our first episode of
Hometown Murder Tour.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Amy.
And we will be your guide through the 417.
That's right. This is our very first episode of something we wanted to do for a long time. We're finally doing it. And we're going to see how that goes.
Oh, no. Amy, put your seatbelt on.
I don't have my seatbelt on. Hey, we're off to a good start.
Yep, it's a good start. So how this is going to work in the future. So we're going to be driving around Springfield, Missouri, and the surrounding areas and talking about some of the true crime murder type stories.
Yes.
Right now we just pulled out of my house. So today's episode, we're not driving to an actual site. We're going to be talking about how we even got into this mess. So
this is a true crime podcast.
Sort of.
Comedy-ish. We think we're funny. So
we think we're damn funny.
We're damn funny. We are from Springfield, Missouri. There's several high-profile murders that have occurred in this town.
And if you're not, into true crime, you may not know, but there's definitely several. Of course, you've heard of Gypsy Rose and the Feeney murders and all
Springfield
of that.
3. We've got some doozies.
So we're not going to start off big.
No.
Okay, we're going to work up to those.
As you can tell, we're not starting off big.
No.
So the point of this is we will do an episode where we will talk about one of our hometown murders. And while talking, we will be driving, which is, we'll see how that goes.
Terrifying.
Yep, a little bit. I get car sick, so we'll see how that goes.
We needed to include some barf.
Yep.
Please don't vomit in my car.
We're going to cut that out.
No, we're not. So, leaving that in.
So we're going to drive around, talk about the case, the murder, and just have a good time.
So right now, I'm driving my childhood home. So if you're from the 417, currently on Luster. I grew up in the Brentwood area, if you're familiar. And my little white house is here. My mom and my grandparents painted this house all themselves. It was a horrible 70s yellow before. Here we are. There's our little brick white house. 4 houses down from my elementary, Eugene Field. Anyone else out there? I don't even remember what the hell we were. Bobcats, maybe? I don't know. Sure, we're going to go with Bobcats.
Anybody? Bobcats out there?
Woo-hoo! Bobcats!
Well, let's see. Is it on the building?
I don't see.
Field flyers. Fields. Anyway.
I don't know.
So
I think it's a Bobcat.
Field Elementary
or a
neighborhood.
Wildcat, maybe? I don't know. So, we're driving down the street. This is the hill that I wrecked my bike on many times. Barataria. Many people will be familiar with that. So, anyway, I grew up here. I was born, raised. I had a slight, small hiatus. We lived in the Northeast for a little bit, but we came back. So, here we are. Amy, tell us your origins.
I'm actually not from Springfield. I've lived here since...
Loser!
Sorry. I'm a poser. I've lived here since 2002. I moved here to go to school. We talk about some of the universities. We give our little 417 info. The 411 on the 417, if you will.
I see what you did there.
I am from Farmington, Missouri, which is about an hour and 20 minutes south of St. Louis, a much smaller town than Springfield. But I'm from Southeast Missouri and then moved here several years ago.
Stats, maybe you should
let's get on that.
the Springfield stats.
The 411 of the 417. So, for those of you that are not familiar with Springfield, Missouri, it is the third largest city in Missouri after St. Louis and Kansas City. It's the county seat of Greene County, which if you watch Live PD, Greene County is repping pretty hard on Live PD. So Springfield is the county seat of Greene County.
We've got quite the teeth to finger ratio going here.
Yep.
We'll get into that,
we'll get into that.
Capital of the world.
417 actually is slang for meth. You can Urban Dictionary it, look it up. It's true story.
Are you kidding?
No, I don't think we're technically the meth capital now, but we were for a while. Yeah, this area, Southwest Missouri. Yep, 417, Urban Dictionary. That's the thing.
Famous!
Famous! So, in the 2010 census, our population was just a little under 160,000, and they're estimating now it's about 167,000.
I like to just round up to 200,000. All the universities.
There's
a shit ton of people here.
We do have a shit ton of people.
Just drive on any of the 4 main streets on a Friday afternoon and you'll understand how many people there are.
No one works ever when I'm driving around in the middle of the day not working.
Everyone just drives around. Apparently they're doing podcasts too.
I think it's like a thing.
Yep.
Speaking of all the universities, we could talk about those. Missouri State University, which is the second largest public university in Missouri after Mizzou, right?
I don't know.
I just made it up. I'm going to go with that.
I like the way that
sounds true. We have Drury University, Evangel, which is a Christian school, Religious Assemblies of God. There was a ton of smaller religious schools like Baptist Bible and Central Bible and bunch of different, all of the Bibles had schools, but they kind of all just joined with Evangel, I think, a couple years ago.
Assemblies of God.
Yes, this is where the Assemblies of God headquarters is located.
Lots of conservative religious people live here.
It's pretty Bible Belt.
Yeah. We're actually the buckle of the Bible Belt.
That's true.
I do believe
we are the shiny buckle.
Referred to.
417, also if you Urban Dictionary that, it says meth, slang for meth / buckle of the Bible Belt. I'm pretty sure.
/ horrible traffic.
Yes. Our city's nickname is the Queen City of the Ozarks.
Oh yeah, we're part of the Ozarks.
Yes, the Ozarks. If you
if you watch the Netflix show Ozark, keep in mind that they did not actually film that in the Ozarks.
That is true.
We do have beautiful, I would say, hills. We do not have mountains, so let's just...
They're old mountains.
Oh, so they've shrunk? Like an old woman,
they're worn down, I think, because geology and science.
Science. It's a thing.
Yeah, so Queen City of the Ozarks, I don't know why. Somebody came here and said it one time and it stuck. And we're also known as the birthplace of Route 66. I think it starts here. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Okay, now just to interrupt you because
you're fine.
How it's going to be.
Yep.
I'm now driving by my high school, Glendale High School. We were the Falcons. I do know that for a fact. I had a pleasant high school experience. Nothing too dramatic there to say. So anyway, there's 5 high schools in Springfield. That would be Glendale Falcons, the best. And then Kickapoo High School and Parkview High School, Hillcrest, and Central. So all 5 represented. 9 middle schools. Not going to name them. A shit ton of elementaries. I can't even
Every neighborhood has an elementary school. I'm pretty sure.
Kind of ridiculous, but that's how it goes.
Yeah.
So that's the school situation.
Yeah, just so you know.
I know you were wondering because you wanted to move here. I know the school situation.
Yep. Okay. So I think that's.
We covered all that. We were very close to Branson.
Oh yeah, Branson.
Part of Branson and all its glory.
Yep.
Silver City is the theme park attraction. Locals like to call it Steal Your Dollar City.
They sure do.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yep.
Because it does just that. But people love it there. I personally try to avoid it at all costs. But, you know, when you have kids, you gotta do that
kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't. So I don't force myself into that hellhole. Also, lots of country music shows down in the Branson area.
A lot of, I believe it's where country musicians go to die.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Sort of, yes. Mm-hmm. That's also what we like to say.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of shows.
Like we have the Dixie Stampede.
Yes. Midwest Vegas.
Yeah.
It's called a lot of times.
I keep hoping they would like allow gambling. I think that would help a lot.
I think so.
But it's not going to happen. Because again, Bible Belt.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and it's been right by the Table Rock Lake area. So we've got lots of lakes around our area.
Yes.
So people, you know, like to have boats and get drunk and drive.
Things that you do on lakes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Table Rock that's one of the most dangerous ones? Or is it, no, Lake of the Ozarks. Lake of the Ozarks, which is nearby, about an hour and a half away, is listed as one of the deadliest lakes.
Yeah, people get drunk.
Yes, most of the deaths are because of drunken boat accidents, but they've had electrocutions because at marinas and all kinds of crazy stuff. So yeah, we're putting ourselves out there on the map.
I personally don't enjoy swimming in a lake because I assume there are dead bodies.
We've talked about this just kind of being into true crime and all of that anyway. There's pretty much dead bodies everywhere. But yeah, lakes especially. Like everyone dumps bodies in lakes and they're still down there.
There are.
While you're in there.
As a kid, this is how far back my thing with death and crime and all that. I would go to my friends' cabins or whatever, and they'd have a dock, and we'd be swimming around the dock or whatever, and I was terrified to even get they would swim under the dock and all that. Mm-hmm. I'm like, there are dead bodies under there.
As a kid,
100%. Yeah, I was 10, and I'm thinking dead bodies under there.
Right.
So that's healthy. Might be because my older siblings forced me to watch scary movies. So that kind of ruined my life.
Yeah.
So anyway, hey, there's our first stalker. That guy in the truck was like, "What are they doing?
We've got our microphones and a laptop. Listen, this is super high tech.
It is.
We have really expensive, high quality microphones. Amazon's choice, I believe.
It was Amazon.
Yeah.
Now we're driving down Sunshine, one of my least favorite streets with traffic.
Mm-hmm.
It is a shit show. Now, right now it's Sunday morning, 10 a.m., so we're pretty good.
Everybody's at church. Yep.
However, we are not at church.
Right. We are at our own kind of church.
Yes. Please don't hate us for saying that.
Or do, whatever.
Yeah,
to the 3 people that are listening to this.
Yes. And that would be, we're going to force my sister to listen.
Yep. I will listen probably once to edit.
Once.
Or
but
once.
It's going to be difficult.
It's going to, no, I don't want to hear it.
Wants to hear our voice.
Mm-mm.
Well, when I say I don't want to hear
we want you to hear our voices, but we don't.
I don't want to hear my voice.
Agreed.
So, it's going to be real hard.
Sarah's sister.
My sister.
Thanks for listening.
Yes. And I don't know, I'll probably force Jody to listen.
Yes.
So Jody, shout out.
Woo woo!
All right, so where I'm headed now, I thought, we haven't mentioned it yet, so it's kind of a big deal, is Bass Pro. Now,
Bass Pro.
The Bass Pro. They, the owner, creator of the Bass Pro is from
Mr. Johnny Morris.
Yes. He does amazing things. So we've got Bass Pro headquarters here.
He's like from here. It started here.
Mm-hmm.
The original is here.
Shop.
Yep.
And so we're going to the they just opened, or I should say reopened, the WOW Museum.
The Wonders of Wildlife.
Yeah. For some reason, I can never remember what WOW stands for. Isn't that sad?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So we're going to just drive by there and maybe even park because I didn't think this through, but I wanted to make some notes about what to talk about.
Yeah, just the specifics of what we're going to talk about.
Well, I can't really read those.
It's hard to read and drive. Right. And
not safe.
Might get nauseous trying to read and drive. So
we didn't bring a barf bag.
Right.
So
cut that out. So we're going to drive to the Bass Pro Shops, park a little bit, talk a little bit, and
So in the meantime, I announced we were going to Bass Pro too early.
Too early. We are not even close.
I fucked that up.
Here's the deal. I don't really know how to cut things out because this is like amateur as fuck. So we probably
might actually be hearing this.
Yeah, pretty sure.
So, all right. So, Amy and I talked about, doing this for, I don't know, a couple of years.
We always,
We have big ideas. Well, before a podcast, it was like TV shows.
Yes.
We had
going to be on
Inc.
A business we were going to start. Yeah.
It was called Inc.
Inc.
Or Business Inc. Or
Business
it was
Incorporated. Business Incorporated. Oh, Inc. You can talk about that.
Yeah, Inc. is a local tattoo place, actually, where I go and Amy goes to get our ink. And they had their own. They were on a show. I think it was
A&E?
Girl Tattoos or something.
Yeah.
It's all female owned and operated, which is badass.
Yeah, they had I think it was A&E, wasn't it?
Yeah.
TV show?
Yeah. So
right here
shout out to Inc. Claire, especially. She's a girl. Yeah, that was real cheesy that I just said.
Yeah, she's my girl.
My girl. Super hip. So anyway,
we have big ideas.
We have really big ideas.
Never follow through until today.
So we've decided this is kind of like, when you're a kid and some people, you play office or you play.
Let's play store. Let's play school.
Right. You're the teacher. I'm the whatever. I always want to be the teacher.
Yeah, of course.
I want to boss people around. So we are playing podcast.
So
we are so aware that most people will not hear this.
Yep.
But you know what? We don't care.
We're having fun, and we're going to make this happen. Because this is America, goddammit.
That's right. It's America.
That's right. Here we are. We're here. Bass Pro.
Bass Pro Shops Outdoor World. If you could see it, it would look like a
Bass Pro Shops.
If you've never seen one. I mean, think log cabin on steroids.
Yep.
Times infinity. That's
it's pretty impressive.
It is. And they have the wonders of wildlife. Again, can't ever get those words out. Giant screen on the outside.
It's a pretty awesome aquarium.
The aquarium is a must-see. Now, you need to save, actually, take some money out of your kid's college fund.
Yes, you do. It's a bit expensive, but worth it if you have an entire day to spend.
Yeah. Make it worth it. Like, don't go and think, I'm going to spend an hour. The price you pay, you're going to want to spend 7 hours.
Well, and I think to get through the whole thing, it takes a couple hours anyway.
We did about 4 hours.
Yeah.
But I was primarily interested in just the aquarium part.
Right.
Once you see a stuffed deer, to me, that's all I need to see.
Hey, but listen, if you're into stuffed deer, like, we don't want to exclude anyone. Just Sarah's judging. I'm not judging. Okay.
So here are your notes.
Yep. Thank you for that. Let's go ahead and get this puppy.
Okay.
Going.
So what we thought we would do is talk about how, our beginnings as true crime fans. Like, how did this shit even start?
Yeah. Or like, what's the one case? What's the one hometown case that just has like stuck with you or really had an impact?
And by the way, let me mention when we discussed doing today's episode, it was like just a quick blurb about whatever. I have 27 pages printed out.
Okay.
So I kind of went down a dark hole.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I have a page and a half of bullet points.
Yeah. So. Well, I just went ahead and, did the whole, there's actually the court case in here.
Oh.
Yeah. So we can get to that. So
nice.
You want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
Either way. I mean, I feel like you've got the notes for it. You want
I'm
to
not
start
reading
us off?
all these.
She's going to read 27 pages.
Yeah.
Let's take a moment and make sure that our super high-tech equipment is working and saved and all of that. So
we don't want We don't want to lose this gold.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Yes,
maybe.
Yes, maybe.
Let's do that. Hometown Murder Tour is brought to you by Serendipity Designs, offering handmade leather jewelry that is simply to die for.
Go to serendipitydesigns.com and enter the promo code MurderTour, all one word, for an additional 10% off your order. That's SARAHNDIPITY designs.com. Don't miss out on this killer deal. And we're back. But you had no idea where we're going, so we don't know what we're doing, people. So just hang on.
Amateur hour.
Amateur
as fuck.
Okay, so the case that I'm going to talk about, let me preface it by a very specific memory I have had of why I even remember it. So my friend Susan lived like maybe a mile from me, maybe not even that far, half a mile maybe. I don't do distances. So,
as the crow flies.
Yes, that. We're going to try to avoid mouth noises, but we cannot promise. Okay, so, can't. So we would, we were besties since second grade, and we would walk halfway, meet each other, and then either walk to my house or walk back to her house. For fun, play dates.
Yeah.
So I would just remember we had met, and we were walking back to her house, and there was a black garbage bag on kind of the side of the road. And Susan goes, "Oh my gosh, what if those are Wilma Plaster's arms?" So,
go on.
Do tell.
Right.
So
I'm intrigued.
Turns out the murder and dismemberment.
Oh shit.
Yep. Of Wilma Plaster. She was 66.
I don't know this one. So here I'm kind of
well, and really that's all I knew at the time. Okay. Like, we made it like a game. Like, we are going to find Wilma Plaster's arm.
Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah. So instead of playing school or store or whatever, our game was we're going to find Wilma Plaster's arm.
All right. That's, again, healthy.
We
healthy.
had no, idea that this was out in the boonies.
Oh, so, well, you don't know as a kid. It's like at home.
It could have been in Brentwood.
Okay. Yeah. I got to hear this.
Okay.
Let's do this.
So, Wilma Plaster, 66, from Hollister. Her, like I said, dismembered body was found about 3 days, they think, after her murder. She had been shot in the head and then dismembered. However, they never found her arms.
Oh my God. Was she dismembered like more than just her arms?
Yeah. Like just decapitated, like everything was off.
And they found that was like near except for the arms.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Shirley Jo Phillips, 55, was shortly thereafter connected with this killing. So this was 1989.
Okay. My story's from 1989.
No way.
Holy shit. Okay.
Oh, it was a good year. It was a good year. There was good hair.
Oh, damn.
There was some denim on denim happening. So, yeah. Let me sift through my 17 pages of papers here. So, I could get into all the details, but that's not what this episode is. Essentially, they never found her arms. Shirley Phillips was convicted, sent to prison, originally on death penalty. And then that was overturned.
Did they have a motive? Like, was there a reason?
Oh, yeah, she was stealing. Shirley was stealing money or, like, forging her checks or whatever. But it was only, like, $4,000.
What?
I know.
So she knew her.
They were friends.
Okay.
Yeah, so Wilma kind of was a widow who was lonely. She was looking for friends. And then this Shirley comes into the picture. Yeah. And,
allegedly. I don't know the rest of the story. I just called her.
I don't want to be judgy, but
yeah, you do.
They were like at the Top Rail Lounge.
Okay.
I don't think is.
Yep.
Let's just say some characters are there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where employees saw both of the women, and then she goes missing, and they someone walking out found the parts of Wilma.
Oh
now,
God.
Here's what's really fucked up that I never knew anything about, and that's where the wormhole went.
Okay.
With this. is that, and again, I always have to like draw a map of how people are related. But it come to find out just before this happened, Shirley Joe Phillips' mother went missing.
You
And
didn't know this
didn't know
before
this.
you were looking stuff up?
No. Went missing, and come to find out there was a bunch of body parts found in Oklahoma. Like fucked up shit, like a nose and fingers and whatever. So the whole body was never found, but they did identify it to be
As the
Shirley's
woman?
mom.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So the same woman who is convicted for murdering
Right.
Thelma and dismembering her,
Yeah.
mother went missing, and they found body parts from her mother.
Yeah.
Huh.
But
Coincidence?
I would think not. And, you know, and actually the mom of Shirley Joe Phillips had been missing a while, but she kept like lying to family members and stuff, and oh, she's not here, whatever,
Right.
you know, covering up. So anyway, what I could find is nothing was ever convicted or anything of that.
They
woman's
found this
death.
out after she had already been convicted for
No, I
Thelma's?
think they already found the body parts and everything. They just didn't know who to connect it with.
Gotcha.
And then this happened.
Holy shit.
But I don't think she was ever
charged with that.
charged or anything.
Wow.
So anyway, Wilma Plaster's name is plastered in my mind. Yeah, that was bad. My husband likes to make really bad puns, so that one was for him.
So as a kid, so as a kid, you hear about dismemberment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that kind of the first time that was really even a thing for you? Like,
I don't think it was my first time. No, because I did back up and say my sister and I kind of were into creepy stuff. Like we shared a room for some time, and I remember, you know, we would take turns reading out of these books, like supernatural stories and, you know, unsolved mysteries and all of that. So, you know, you remember the days of unsolved mysteries.
Oh yeah, I was terrified.
That music
His voice
alone can
and the music.
still.
Yep. So as a kid, then this case comes out about Thelma Plaster being dismembered. Wilma. Sorry. I said Thelma. And you're spending your afternoon searching for her arms.
Mm-hmm. That was our afternoon plans.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the first one you really...
That's one I really like. I wanted to solve this unsolved crime.
Yeah.
And here we are. Not
It's
solving
solved.
a damn thing.
Solved.
So, okay, now how about you?
All right.
How did you get into this fucked up world?
Well, let me tell you.
Okay.
Well, my hometown murder case that has sort of just kind of stuck with me still technically wasn't in my hometown. It was in Fredericktown, which is about 20 minutes south of Farmington. Mm-hmm. But it actually was a national case, and kind of like you said, you weren't really thinking that Wilma's remains were found way out in the middle of nowhere like they were. It was in town. It was like they're talking about it in town. They could be anywhere, right? So this was kind of one of those same things. Like this happened in Fredericktown, Missouri, but it was everywhere. I mean, it was kind of this huge local case. It is a cold case. It has still never been solved, and it is the abduction and disappearance of Gina Dawn Brooks.
Gina Dawn.
Yep.
Is it D-A-W-N?
D-A-W-N.
All right.
Gina Dawn Brooks. So 1989 again, just like
year.
August 5th. So summer 1989.
It was hot as hell that summer.
I remember
when I looked for those arms. It was so hot.
So hot. So Gina was 13 at the time. She had just come home from her brother's baseball game. So like think small town country ball game, summer evening kind of thing. She came,
the smells,
right? The sights, hot dogs, the whole thing, right?
Sweat.
So, 13 years old, comes home after her brother's ball game, decides pretty soon after that she's gonna like head to a friend's. It's 10 p.m. But again, small town, 1989,
it was the 80s.
10 o'clock at night.
Anything like
I'm going to just go to my friends at 10 o'clock at night. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Like, see you when
Walk
you come back
by
in a little bit.
Right. And wear all black.
Yep, right. So she gets on her 10-speed bicycle around 10 o'clock. That is the last time that her family saw her. I know. Her mom ended up calling the police, I think, by around like 2 a.m. when it was like confirmed. We don't know where she is.
But back then it was like, oh, sorry, you have to be missing a year before we do anything.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So it was a few hours. The family saw her at 10 p.m. Missing persons report was at 2 a.m. There were witnesses in the town that said that she was last seen. They saw her standing near a church, like the one church, I guess, in Fredericktown. I don't know. And they saw this like janky, battered light. Like the details that I looked back up, it was like a light gray, blue station wagon, rough station wagon, pulled up, had Missouri plates, pulled up and talked to her. And then a witness said they saw the car drive off. She got back on her bike and she went like in a different way. So they must either like approached her like, hey, we have some questions. We don't know what's going on.
So she instead of continuing on to where she was going, she turned and went a different direction?
I think she went, I don't remember a lot of the old articles and stuff I looked up talked about what street she turned on and where witnesses said they saw the car. But I think witnesses just said she was standing by this church. Then this station wagon approached her. She spoke to them, but then they drove off. She got on her bike and like continued on, I guess. A short time later, after that, a witness reported hearing a scream, like hearing her scream for help. One of the witnesses that was reporting this was Gina's boyfriend at the time. So 13 years old, boyfriend, and his friend. So they must have all been like meeting up after the game, I'm guessing. Like some of them were there. She was going on to her friends. So they heard screams. And then someone even reported they saw the station wagon leaving pretty quickly towards like the major highway, like Highway 67 there that kind of connects and goes up through. At another point, like that evening, her 10-speed was found kind of on a residential lawn, just laying there on the lawn, and no trace of her has been found since.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is awful.
Yes. And it was, so they held vigils, it made national news. They even used, and I remember every now and then they would release information. They would constantly get leads and talk about it, and nothing would go anywhere with it. They used like infrared equipment one time to scan a bunch of fields in the area to see if her body had been dumped. I remember we actually had moved out of Missouri in the 90s, but I remember someone, old friends, telling me about it, or it was in the news or something. But the county sheriff in 1996, so got some report from a psychic or something that she saw her body at the bottom of a quarry in the area and the getaway car. And so the sheriff ran with it and was like, let's do it.
Course,
and they drained the quarry, and that's kind of what he said. He's like, well, is what it is. I think the mom at the time called it bullshit and was kind of upset about it. Right. But he went with it. They drained the quarry, and so everybody was like, oh my God, they're gonna find her. Like, this could be it. And nothing. Right. Didn't find anything. In 1998, this is where it starts.
Wouldn't that psychic know that they wouldn't find anything?
I know, right? Just saying. Yeah. She's full of shit.
Yeah.
So this is where it starts getting this is where it's like gets a little interesting. So in 1998, almost 10 years, 3 men are actually implicated in her disappearance. So what happens is there's a guy named Brian Squires, had some criminal background. He he's identified as the driver. He makes a deathbed statement. It says he died of AIDS-related complications and cancer. But on his deathbed, he says that he and these other 2 guys were involved. So he's like, we did it.
Oh, man.
Gina Dawn Brooks. Like, we
I
kidnapped her.
wish everybody would do just deathbed confessions.
But wait.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the Brian guy. Another guy named Timothy, he was mentioned by Brian. So he's charged with 2nd-degree murder because this Brian guy on his deathbed is like, hey, Brian and this other guy and me, we did this. He actually says Yeah, we buried her in an abandoned meat freezer on my dad's property. So they go to the property, they dig, they do everything, nothing.
Man.
So this guy, Timothy Bellew, he also has a history of sex offenses and crime. They have to drop the murder charge for him the next year because of lack of evidence. But he is charged with lying to investigators about where a body is buried. So he ended up serving time for that. The big guy here, Nathan, quote, Danny Williams, he was actually charged with her murder in 1999.
And he's the one who made the deathbed?
No. A guy named Brian Squires made the deathbed confession, implicated these other two guys in it.
I need a whiteboard.
I know, right? So let's
and the red string.
Yeah, let's do drive.
This. Okay.
So while we drive. No, so this Danny guy is officially charged with her murder. A witness identifies him as being in the back seat of the station wagon. Mm-hmm. He is currently in prison right now, serving a 30-year sentence for another sexual assault case against a minor. He pled not guilty. He said he had never been to Fredericktown, never had anything to do with it. It was supposed to go to trial in 2002. It was this huge deal. I remember about that time I had moved back to Missouri. I'd actually moved to Springfield, and it was like this huge thing, like, oh, they got this guy, he did it, but they didn't have enough evidence, so the trial was dropped. Yep. So the reason why they dropped it, the prosecutor said he actually said, this does not mean he's still not a suspect, but we just don't want it to go to mistrial. We don't want it to acquittal.
Right.
And then we can't do anything.
Right.
So he dropped it basically as like I still think this is the fucker that did this.
Right.
We just have to be careful about it. It said that authorities believed he killed Gina by slitting her throat, and the other two covered it up. So yeah, as of right now,
poor thing.
I know there's suspects, but no official. Still nothing. No trace of her body.
Where is this douchebag now?
He is actually in the Farmington Correctional Center. There's a prison there.
He's locked up.
Yeah, he's locked up right now. So yeah, that was the case. It was huge. It was a national case, but for like the small towns in the area, it was really crazy. And I just remember as a kid, I don't remember the stranger danger conversation really that I had with my parents. I'm sure they did, but as an 8-year-old, or they didn't, but they did then. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was, I specifically remember them like talking to us about, hey, be careful with cars come up, because we ran the streets too, like summer 1989, you know, come home-ish when the street lights come on kind of thing. And every bike we'd see laying in the ground was like, oh my God.
Missing kid.
Somebody got kidnapped, and somebody, you know, every van that looked weird, every sketchy car we saw driving around.
Let's just be honest, vans are...
Oh, yeah.
Totally have dead bodies in them.
And so it was just, I don't know. And then the idea, I don't think it ever crossed my mind that could happen until that happened, you know? So like as an 8-year-old being like, wait, there's people out there who will take you forever and you'll never, you know, it was terrifying. And even I asked my sister, she's not a true crime fan, but when we were talking about we were going to do this, I just sent her a text. I'm like, so what's one case you remember as a kid, like growing up or whatever? And she just texted back, Gina Dawn Brooks.
Oh man.
So it's just
that gave me the chill.
I know. So that's the case. It's not really, I don't have a, you know, connection to it. It didn't necessarily get me interested in true crime, but it just stays with you. Like it's still.
And I do remember the stranger danger and all that, because I specifically remember like when if I would be somewhere that, I don't know, I felt uncomfortable with, I would start like memorizing license plates. Yeah. And like, there's a Ford truck and blah, blah, blah. Like in my head, I clearly was being unsupervised in the movies that I was watching. I mean, that just is very evident.
Yeah.
Because here I am, like as a 10-year-old, like, okay, there's that car. If I get kidnapped, I need to like listen for railroad tracks and, you know, that kind of shit. What's up with that? I don't think that happened on Bugs Bunny. I'm just saying.
No, it didn't.
I don't know what I was watching.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So that's how this all began.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's it. Normally, I don't think we'll do like a Sarah will talk, I will talk kind of thing with the stories. We just wanted to share our own sort of personal hometown murder today, but I think for future episodes, we'll pick one kind of Springfield murder and we'll talk about it, and it'll be awesome. And we're gonna make you want to listen to more and more and more.
More and more.
Sarah's
now,
sister and Jody.
Yes. Laura and Jody, these are for you. And so also we still have to figure out how we actually get this out into the world.
Yeah, we're working on it. We know a whole lot about how to play podcast. And so we're going to figure out that. I'm guessing it's going to be a Podbean situation because that's where we're leaning. But main place to reach us right now.
We do have a Twitter account, folks.
We do have a Twitter.
So we are at Murder Tour, right?
Yes, at Murder Tour on the Twitters. And we will link things there.
Yeah. So when we get this professionally edited,
yes,
you guys are going to be so impressed.
We also have a Gmail, but I can't remember what it is because it's how professional. 417 HMT,
or the other way around.
So HMT. Don't email us right now. Just go to Twitter at Murder Tour.
Yeah,
and that's where we'll have the info.
And then we're also kind of tweeting out just little facts about Springfield and other things. So check us out.
Speaking of, I needed to tweet this out, but yesterday was the Lifetime movie premiere.
Oh yes,
of I'll Love You to Death. The
based on the name.
Yes, based on Springfield's own Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Yep. So check that out.
Yep.
We will be discussing that one. Yeah. That might be a two-parter.
That I think will have to be a two-parter. We'll be super organized for that. So thank you, Laura and Jody, again for listening.
We appreciate it.
And we'll see you
next time.
Bye.
Bye.